podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, May 22nd, 2021. This is episode 1798. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Worldwide Technology and Cisco. With a return to the office in sight, are you prepared to safely welcome back employees and patrons? Do you have the right tools in place to support hybrid work? WWT combines strategy and execution to bring clarity to the reopening plans and implement solutions that enable flexible working. Visit wwt.com/twit to get started. And by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-belt grooming. Smooth it out, fellas, with Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet, and home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that silly stuff that's changing the world all around us all the time. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. If you want to talk high tech, if you want to ask a question, if you'd like to get some help, 888-827-5536. And that's toll-free in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me, but you have to use Skype or something like that to call. And it should still be toll-free. 8888 Ask Leo. There's a website. Of course there's a website. What kind of tech guy would I be without a website? Actually, I think websites are starting to be a little old-fashioned, but I'm an old-fashioned tech guy. The website is techguylabs.com. And the reason I mention it is not because there's, I charge you or anything. It's free. The whole idea of the website is that you don't have to write anything down as you hear it. You could just, you just go to the website. Everything that I say will be there thanks to James DeRuvo, our scribe. Also audio and video from the show after the fact, all that stuff. It's techguylabs.com. Just look for episode 1798. That's this particular episode, 1798. And you will find everything you need. Looks like Apple is offering now. Did we talk about this last week? We talked about the rumor. It's now a fact. They're offering high-resolution, high-quality audio for Apple Music subscribers, but not if you're using an Apple device to listen to it. So that's a little weird. It doesn't work on the AirPods Pro, the AirPods Studio Max. Doesn't work on the HomePod, doesn't work on the HomePod Mini. Does work on the Apple TV. So there's one thing. But I think, eventually they'll upgrade the wired stuff. I think it's the wireless stuff they're never going to be able to get working. But it just shows you, it's definitely competitive out there in the streaming music world. And as more and more people get better and better bandwidth also, I think it's the case, and that's pretty cool, that you'll be able to hear higher quality music. Will anybody care? That's the question. Got a whole generation that grew up on highly compressed MP3s and kind of cheap, those white earbuds that Apple was putting in with their phones for years. They probably don't know the difference. You certainly can't hear it with those things. No. So we're trying to get people to get the vaccine. We're wrapping it up here, get the country back on track. And there's a few holdouts, but there's some interesting strategies to get them to do the vaccine. You saw in Ohio they're doing a lottery. Now some other states are looking at this, but the latest one is the White House is reaching out to dating apps. We finally found the one thing that makes us all more attractive, a vaccination. So, Tinder, OkCupid, Hinge, some that cater to daters in specific communities. Nice rhyme, New York Times. That cater to daters, BLK and Kispa. Tinder's going to launch a vaccine center to help users. Before you swipe left, or is it white? Right, before you swipe left, you might want to go to the vaccination center and I bet that works. It's the hardest, the most difficult group to get to is young people, I think, because they're like, well, so what? I'm young. Who cares? So getting a vaccine though helps your older friends like me. So it's nice that they're going to the dating apps. Very interesting. I'm a little nervous about this. Have you ever used Citizen? It's an app that shows you crime in your neighborhood and scares the heck out of you while they're at it. And I have to say, some people love Citizen. Actually, I'm curious what you think. What do you use it? What do you think? So you would then report, there was a crime on my street, that kind of thing. And I guess the idea is, kind of be aware of, neighborhood watch style. But what it's ended up doing is of course, fostering racism. There's a person that doesn't look like he belongs in this neighborhood. In the neighborhood, keep your eye peeled, that kind of thing. Now, Citizen says they're going to deploy private security workers at the request of app users. Ay. This is already a little bit of a vigilante app. Now they actually have vigilantes. Users report, and I'm putting this in scare quotes, incidents in their neighborhood. Based on those reports and police scanners, the app sends real-time safety alerts to other users about crime and incidents happening near where you are. And now you can say, send help. I understand people's desire to be safe, but I just worry that this is going to turn into the militia, the posse comitatus, the vigilantes coming to get you. Not the police, private security. Apps are the new thing, aren't they? I mean, they are. Apps are powerful, whether it's getting people to get a vaccine or getting the vigilantes. They're very powerful. We've seen it over and over again in all sorts of interesting ways. It's as if the sudden ability for everybody to communicate isn't such a good idea after all. I mean, we all thought it'd be a great idea. Everybody could talk to everybody, the barriers would come down. But now I'm wondering, I don't know. But get ready, because we're not done. Oh, there's more to come. Snap, the Snapchat folks have new spectacles, glasses you could wear that will project AR effects on what you're seeing. This new frame has 4 built-in microphones, 2 stereo speakers, and a built-in touchpad. Oh, and yes, of course, front-facing cameras to help the glasses detect objects and surfaces you're looking at. They will not be for sale. Snapchat is giving them directly to an undisclosed number of AR influencers. I'm an AR influencer. I want some glasses, please. You can apply online. One negative on these things, they're very powerful. You wear them on your face, you go everywhere you go, except battery life, 30 minutes. So you can only go out 30 minutes at a time. But what a world you'll see. Wow. I think we're getting closer. Apple's working on these. Facebook's working on these. Google released something like this a few years ago, Google Glass, that was widely derided. It was early. That's always the case. The first one out the door is the one getting the arrows. First one over the hill, gets the arrows in the back or whatever. But I think that the time is rapidly coming. You're going to have to get ready in the next, I'm saying 5 years, maybe 10. Sometimes things take longer, but 5 probably, that people will be routinely wearing glasses with cameras. And there'll probably be a button on the side that says, call the vigilantes. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. I want to talk high tech with you. That's what, this is what's interesting about high tech. It's changing our world as we speak remarkably, in ways unpredictably, but fascinatingly. And that's what this show is about. The website, techguylabs.com. The phone number, 8888-ASK-LEO. Yeah.
It's back.
Yeah. We can play this. We've been told we may play this once every 6 weeks. No,
Really?
I'm making that up. I don't know. It's the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer, our very own phone angel. Kimmy, don't take no Schaffer. Hello, Kimmy.
Hello, I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I got a little warning seconds before.
Oh.
Professor Laura said we're going to
Take it back to
break
the old
it
school.
old school.
That's not what I was expecting with old school.
Very old
I was
school.
thinking, like, I don't know, 50s or 60s.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think of that. But no, it's fun to
70s
hear
maybe.
that. Fun to hear that once in a while.
It is fun.
Kim Schaffer is our phone angel. She answers the phones, gets you on the air, prepared for your appearance on national radio.
You don't have much to say today, do you?
No.
It's going to be a fun 3 hours.
How did you could tell? You've known me long enough. You know that.
Are you talked out?
Talked out. Who should I talk to?
Well, I got 2 Matts and a Frank, so let's go with Frank on line 2.
You're just going to confuse me with that. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Frank on line 2 from San Diego. Welcome.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. So we're going to send a laptop to my brother-in-law in Ukraine.
Oh,
He
wow.
got a job. He got a job translating, and you just can't get a laptop over there.
Right.
That would suffice, but just something inexpensive. And my question is, most of the inexpensive ones are 4 gigs, right?
Yeah, just depends. I mean, where you're getting it from. So most laptop manufacturers, going to get a Windows PC?
Yeah, we're thinking so. That would, for what he's going to be doing.
Most laptop manufacturers offer kind of 2 lines: the cheaper consumer line and the higher end prosumer line. And that's no one would offer a prosumer less than 16 gigs because that's nuts. So,
Right.
so if you go by price, the lower priced ones are going to start at 4 gigs. No one should get 4 gigs. 8 gigs is absolutely the minimum for a Windows PC, and I would say you'd be better off with 16.
No kidding. Okay. And so that was my second question: is if we do the 4 gigs, once we install Windows, that's pretty much it, right? That's a wrap on memory.
No. Now don't confuse storage and RAM. So RAM, random access memory, is the small number. That's the 4, 8, or 16 gigs. That's temporary memory where the programs and the data are stored while he's working on them. But then they get saved off to a what they call mass storage. On a modern laptop, that would not be a spinning hard drive. That would be a solid state drive. And they will start, I guess you could get one. If you were getting a 4 gig machine, you might be also offered a 64 gig hard drive. That's just too small. It's so funny because I remember when 2 gig hard drives were considered massive, but nowadays you're going to want 128 gigs minimum. And I would say, again, depending on what kind of things is he doing? Is he large files?
Well, we're not really sure. He's doing translation work, and I believe it's going to be all web-based.
Yeah, so he doesn't need giant storage. 256 would probably be reasonable because you can always do external storage too. But I wouldn't go well below 256. But if you're getting a 16 gig, 8 gigs might be enough for him. Windows is kind of a hog. So you want to have enough left over to run the operating system and then the browser, which is probably what he'll spend most of the time in.
Okay, and the RAM doesn't matter for 8.
No, the RAM is the one where you want at least 8 and probably 16. Storage, mass storage, you'd want at least 128 and probably more like 256 or 512. And you want to get what's your budget? Maybe I should start with that number.
Well, we're looking like right around $300 because even getting it over there, it's kind of risky on will he even.
Yeah. Market. My tip to you is to say it's a gift.
Right.
It's tricksy. I got I just got a clock from the Ukraine. It was packaged in a big wooden crate, and it had been opened, and it was delayed, and UPS got there and said, you owe us $58. It's tricky. And let me just see. You can't import into Ukraine coal or firewood, animal skins. Batteries. Oh, that might be a problem because it's going to have a battery in it. If you say it's a gift, it's kind of just taking a chance. So I understand why you'd want to put a lot of money into it. If you're only spending $300, you're probably going to get you're not going to get more than 8 gigs. You're probably going to get, a $300 PC is going to not have a lot, maybe 128 gigs of storage. You're not going to have a lot of choices. When you're spending that little, you're going to the consumer end and kind of the low end of the consumer end. So,
okay.
You're very generous to do this, but
you might want to go higher.
You might want to go a little higher. I don't want to say that. I'm looking at look at the crossborder.fedex.com Ukraine prohibited and restricted items, and you'll see they have it doesn't say computers. Oh yeah, it does. Computer components and parts. Okay, not compact discs. It doesn't say computers as a whole. So electronic equipment is prohibited.
Yeah, my wife's Ukrainian. She knows how to kind of get around.
Yeah, good. Okay, yeah.
So she does.
The secrets.
The last question, and I appreciate your time, is
sure.
Should we set everything up here and then send, just in case? Because I know it's kind of funky over there with IPs and all that. Or do you?
No, he's going to want to set it up. I wouldn't set it up. There's no point in setting it up here.
Okay.
You'll let him set that up because he's going to want to set it up with his Microsoft account and blah, 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 and all that.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You might actually look at a Chromebook. Might be a little. It'll be less expensive. It's not Windows, and if everything he's doing is online, it might be more than enough. So that might be the other option. That's nice of you. How long is he going to be there?
Well, he lives there, and
okay.
Hard to get work there, but he found this translation.
Good for him. Gosh, it's got to be hard though. If they don't let you import them, I guess they want you to buy them there, which means they probably have some hefty tariffs. Yeah, interesting. It's hard to find them everywhere.
Right.
That's really the case, but it sounds like Ukraine's even worse.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, well, good luck. I hope you can get it through. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? In some ways, our world is completely, flat, unified, but in other ways, not so much. So I hope, I'm sure there's tricks to getting it across. I would just say, and I'm confronted with this almost every week. I only want to spend $300 on a computer. I don't know where we got that expectation. The computers should be that cheap. It's not that cheap. Yeah, you can get them. I think it's remember the old phrase, penny wise, pound foolish. You get something that cheap, it's going to break. It's not going to be fun to use. It's going to have all sorts of problems. I think you need to spend $500. I really do. I hate to say it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. You can disagree with me if you want. Scott Wilkinson's coming up. He's going to talk home theater in just a sec. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The Tech Guy broadcast today, the podcast brought to you by WWT, Worldwide Technology, and Cisco. WWT is at the forefront of innovation, working with clients all over the world to transform their businesses, to strengthen their resilience in admittedly tough times. At the heart of WWT, that amazing Advanced Technology Center, the ATC. It's a research and testing lab like no other. I think they're the last people to really be doing this, and they've been doing it for 10 years. They've got $500 million worth of equipment in there from all the leading OEMs. This is an amazing thing because it means before you buy enterprise technology, you can try it, you can see how it works with what you've got, you can test out overall solutions. Plus, the ATC is available to you. It's now a lab as a service. I love this. You can gain access to not just these tests and the labs and all the equipment in the labs, but technical articles, expert insights, demonstration videos, and white papers, all the tools you need to stay up to date with the latest technology. And it's free to WWT partners and customers. It's so great. WWT has transformed so many businesses. As an example, State University, won't name names, one of the 50 states, let's put it that way. They wanted to create new opportunities for students to connect with faculty, but now they needed to do it online, right? WWT came in. They helped them test and compare virtual collaboration solutions, again, using the Advanced Technology Center, because everything's in there. And then once the university picked it, the WWT helped train and engage faculty and students to make sure they loved it and used it, and it worked. WWT uses a personal-based approach to help identify what technology you need to safely reopen, but also to architect and implement a variety of solutions appropriate to the situation. Fever screening, occupancy monitoring, contact-free conference rooms, and on and on and on. They've got the knowledge, the tools, the expertise to make it happen for your business. See how WWT and Cisco can help bring clarity to your reopening plans and implement solutions that enable flexible working. Go to WWT.com/twit to get started and gain access to their valuable resources. That's WWT.com/twit. WWT! Make a new world happen. Thank you, WWT, for supporting the Tech Guy Podcast. It's time for that long-haired Hep Cat, Mr. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. What is Hep? That's what it is. What is Hep? Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
Contributor at techhive.com. And, you know, I feel like the world is starting to come back. We're going to... When is CEDIA coming up? When is the
CEDIA is coming up in September. That will be
I think that'll be in person, yeah?
It will be in person. IFA in Berlin in September was just canceled.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, they're having troubles in Germany, yeah.
In person, anyway. Yeah, exactly. But CEDIA in Indianapolis is going to be in person. Now, I'm probably not going.
But your home theater is one of the few areas where you really want to see these things in person.
True.
Because you can't judge the quality of a screen or speakers over a Skype connection or a Zoom connection. You just can't.
Correct. No, you can't. And even at a trade show, you can't really because, you know, you're under Klieg lights in a showroom, in a convention center hall, and they're totally misadjusted. For me, the value of a trade show really is the in-person contact with my friends in the industry, you know, which I normally only see on Skype or Zoom or email. And finally, I get to, you know, go have a meal with them, and it's great. But, you know, the convention business is slowly opening up. CEDIA is going to be live. CES just announced they're going to be in person in 2022. So, you know, we hope that. But this week, there was another virtual convention, and I've got to tell you, I'm starting to really dig, and I have since we've done them, virtual conventions, because you can go, you don't have to be there during the presentation. You can go afterwards, watch the presentation. If you miss something, you can stop and go back and play that little piece again. What'd that guy say? So that part, I'm digging totally. Now, the convention I went to last week is called Display Week, put on by the Society for Information Display, or SID. And this is geek heaven, man. This is super deep tech. I mean, we're talking about, you know, the materials that you make OLED from, or quantum dots, and really, really super deep stuff. As Mike Heiss in the chat room said, you can't really hang with that for too very long at a time. You know, it just gets so deep and dense. But one of the things that I found very interesting that actually relates to a real product, most of the stuff at SID is, you know, future stuff or deep tech stuff that most consumers wouldn't care about. But here's something I think that's pretty interesting, and we can actually see it in a product very soon. You know, I've talked about OLED versus LCD, and OLED, you know, basically doesn't have any of the problems that LCD does, and LCD has to kind of put Band-Aids on things to make it better. And one of those Band-Aids is something called full array local dimming, right? Where you've got LEDs behind the LCD panel, and they dim and brighten in different zones to give you better looking contrast. But it's not perfect. If you have a star in a night sky, you're going to see a halo around it because the zone that's brightening up to make that star brighter is larger than the star itself. Well, Sharp gave a presentation about something called dual cell or dual modulation LCD. What that is, you've got the front LCD panel, which actually produces the color image. And behind it, you have another LCD panel, a black and white LCD panel, doesn't have color filters, that basically dims and brightens almost every individual pixel, making it sort of almost like OLED. And this is very, very cool. Now, Hisense showed this as a technology CES 2019, maybe 2018 even. And we've been all wondering, when's that going to come out as a product? Well, this year, they announced it's going to come out as a product in the U.S. called the U9DG, I think. It's a 75-inch TV. It's going to have this dual cell technology, which gives you much greater contrast, much less, almost zero, haloing around bright objects on an otherwise dark background. And it really improves LCD performance by an order of magnitude, I'd say, bringing it much closer to OLED performance. And interestingly, the Hisense, which we know it's a Chinese company, they make inexpensive TVs. The U9DG is going to be 75 inches for $3,500. Now, that's not chump change, really, but, a 77-inch OLED from LG is in the same price range. So, and the LCD is going to be brighter. That's one of the advantages of LCD, is that it has a higher peak brightness. So those bright stars or the bright specular highlights, a reflection of the sun off a chrome bumper or something, are going to be much brighter than they would be on OLED. So this is a pretty big improvement that people have been working on for some time, and now finally we're going to actually see a TV that has it, which I can't wait to see. Mike Heiss went to the Hisense event. I missed that one. But he said, you can't, he said exactly what you just said. You can't judge the picture quality on a Zoom call, which is entirely correct.
But if you can't judge one in on a convention floor either, and you still have to get it home, I guess. That's right. I guess it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make that much difference. Yeah. So I'm all for these virtual conferences. Well, sure, it's easier, and Google just had its big Google I/O this week. And, normally nobody can attend it. It's a lottery, and, it's hard to get in, and only a handful of developers can, and those who can afford to fly to Silicon Valley and all that. And this way, everybody all over the world can do it, and there's no limit to the number of people that can attend. So there's a certain advantage to these. There really is. So, again, the only one that I miss is seeing people in person. Yeah. I'm getting over that. I don't mind. Yeah. I just want to stay home with a good book. So right, exactly. So, but still, I think for your business, you gotta go look at those at some point, or you gotta have them in your house at some point. Listen to them or whatever. You just can't. Yep. And that's probably the hardship of what you do. It is. It is. Get hands on. You got to get hands on. Exactly. Yeah. Now I was invited to go hear a really interesting speaker. Which fortunately their office is here in LA, and now that most people are vaccinated, I certainly am, I feel relatively comfortable going to the office to hear this very unusual single speakers immersive sound kind of system, which was designed by a former Apple designer, and the chief audio officer is a guy named Chris Kyriakakis, who is a very, very smart audio guy. So I have great hopes that this thing's actually going to sound really good, and I get to go hear it
And then I'll probably get to review it at some point when it actually comes out. So fortunately, I live in LA and I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm going to get my new Apple iPad in the next week or so. That's going to have the new mini LED backlit display.
Ooh, I want to see that.
10,000 LEDs on a 12.9-inch screen, 2,500, 2,500 local dimming areas. People are starting to get them now, and some people are kind of complaining about the monitors. Now, of course, that means... Well, you know how it is. Lots of expectations.
Everybody's going to complain about something.
Yeah. But maybe by next week I can talk about that. I'd love to talk about that technology too. So maybe next week, mini LED, which is
mini LED,
the
one of my
next
favorites.
thing. Yeah. Scott Wilkinson, techhive.com, and right here on the Tech Guy Show. Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure.
Yeah, people are complaining about Bloom, but then I look at these. First of all you can see is a camera phone picture, which isn't going to tell you diddly.
Yeah.
But there's also, they're saying at 100% in the pitch black, I'm getting Bloom. And I don't know if that's really on text. I don't know if that's really a fair.
Well, if it's white text on black background, even mini LED with FALD, with full array local dimming, you're probably going to get some bloom, some haloing.
Yeah.
Depending on the size of the text, of course.
I'm sure they got tiny text, a white text on a black background, pitch dark.
Exactly. The worst possible scenario.
Yeah. But this is exactly how it works in the tech world. Something new comes out, people get all excited, then they get it, and then they complain. Rinse, lather, repeat.
Right.
So we'll see.
Typical.
Yeah, typical. I just got this pair of wooden speakers. I ordered these maybe a year ago. It's a new company. They do live performances.
Oda, I have it.
Did you get the Odas?
Yep.
What do you think?
The speakers are pretty interesting and better than I thought they would be.
They're not very big. They're
like a foot square. They look like a small pizza box.
They're a panel, wooden case.
Yep.
And they say set it up so that you somewhere almost like in a meditation space, so you can sit and listen to live music and just really enjoy it. And as a result, because they said that, I haven't even taken them out of the box because I'm going, well, where is that going to be? I don't know where to put them.
Well, one thing I'm writing a review of them, so that's why I have them. And a number of conclusions I've come to. One is it's really meant for one person.
Yeah, that's kind of what they're saying.
Yeah, it's meant for you to go into a meditative space, essentially. Right. And you want to set them up so that your head and the two speakers are in a more or less equilateral triangle.
Yeah. I'm completely stymied by these requirements.
Well, it's not a requirement, but it's just an optimization.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you got this. You haven't listened to any of it?
No,
yet.
they're still in the box because I'm trying to figure out where the hell am I going to put them.
You know what? I put mine on the floor, and I lie on the floor.
Yeah.
To listen to them.
There's actually a picture on the Oda website of somebody doing that.
Somebody doing exactly that, and that's what I did. And most of the music that they do is of an ambient or meditative kind of nature.
Oh, interesting. So you really should set up a little shrine.
Yes.
With little Buddha.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Terry Riley's music. I actually like his music a lot.
I do too.
Wisconsin sheep farm.
Yes.
Yeah, a village in southern Spain. So there's ambient sounds.
They do a lot of ambient sounds. Lara G, by the way, you just passed Lara G.
Yeah.
I like his work.
Cosmetic tone baptism. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, cosmic.
Cosmic, not cosmetic.
Zither and hammered dulcimer.
Oh, it's very, very meditative.
And then
it's really
what's
very
weird
nice.
is now after you buy the speakers, now you have to pay every quarter for the music.
$79 per season. They have seasons that correspond to the seasons, right? So there's this spring season and the summer season.
This is another impulse purchase I think I regret.
Well, I don't know. You have to take it out and try it.
I have the Elax in a very nice, comfortable couch space. It's actually in the bedroom, and they're at ear level and everything. Do you think these are better than those?
No.
But they're designed for this.
They're designed specifically for this. I have lots to say about this. We can talk about
Stick
it. Stick
around for the top
if you want. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Well, I think, Laura, you should stay, but I'm just saying. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Professor Laura is, of course, our musical director, and she picks all the tunes. She says she's going to stay. Thank goodness. Matt on the line from Torrance, California. Matt number 1. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Leo. I have a question. My wife got into Twitch streaming, but of our garden, and all the outdoor cameras I find online are either like thousands of dollars and track wildlife and or blink in, they're for cameras for the front door, so you can't stream. They only go up for like 15, 30 seconds. So I'm trying to look for something.
This is fascinating. What's her channel name? I mean, where can I find
Twitch Tawana Adventure.
Twitch?
Just our backyard. Yeah, on Twitch, Tawana Adventure.
TWANA?
Yep.
And is it just twitch.tv/Tawana Adventure?
Yep. And basically the thing is, we noticed we had tons of squirrels and birds in our backyard, and we decided, hey, that's more interesting than us playing video games. Let's stream that.
TOANA? Is that how you spell it?
Yeah, you found Moana.
Like Moana with a T, and I'm looking at your backyard right now.
Yes, you are.
If there's a bunch of tikis in it, then I'm looking at it right now.
Correct, sir.
Okay, cool. So, how close to? So, I guess there's a couple of questions. Can you have a wire for power?
I can wire for power. Right now, I'm using USB cameras that I bought off Amazon, and they can only go 15 feet. So I'm looking for something to go farther.
You can plug it in.
Yeah.
If you can plug it in, that's going to greatly widen your choice. A lot of those cameras that you've been looking at don't stream because they're battery powered. And so they only turn on when there's activity. And obviously that's no good for Twitch. Twitch.tv is a streaming channel. Mostly people playing games. We're on it right now, streaming the radio show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I play games on it. I play a Viking adventure game called Valheim on my Twitch channel. So that's mostly what it is. But yeah, backyard, there's lots of interesting stuff. Musicians use it. So you want to stream when you're doing it. You want to stream continuously. And if it's a backyard, you probably want to stream the whole time. So powered is important. If you can plug it in, that's important. Do you have Wi-Fi?
I do, sir.
Okay, so if you're willing to sacrifice about 1.5 megabits of bandwidth, constantly, because a good HD signal, I know you're sending 720p, you're probably going to want to send 1080p if you can. So
of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would look at, we use the Nest cameras. They need power. They're from Google. They will stream full time. But actually, you could use it. They have outdoor cameras, and I take it there's nowhere sheltered to put this camera.
Nah, it would be in the rain whenever there is rain in Southern California.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So if you could put a little house over it, it might be a good idea because rain eventually will, even an outdoor camera, rain eventually will ruin it. But you wouldn't, the reason I ask, you wouldn't put you can get certainly better cameras than a camcorder or that kind of thing, but they don't do well outdoors. So you want to look at outdoors cameras. The other company that I would maybe look at, because their prices are so low, but I'm wondering if they have streaming capabilities. There's so many companies that do this. Does WYZE.com, they have an outdoor camera, but I'm trying to figure out if the WiseCam Outdoor, if they will stream live.
That's part of my issue too. I kept running into I had to buy big security.
Yes, you can live stream. So this is good news. This is good news. Cool. It says live stream and recording 1080p, but does that live all the time? No. See, this is a wireless. So it's going to be the same thing that you've discovered, which is the wireless cameras are active activity triggered, when there's a movement that goes, oh, I see something, and then they turn on, and that's not good for Twitch. But Wise makes really good stuff very inexpensively. They've really challenged the industry. So I would browse around WYZE.com. But I have to say, even though they're more expensive, the Nest cams, you can have them stream nonstop. They have 1080p. They're very good quality. They work at night. They have a night vision.
Cool.
That's the ones I use for house security, but it would work just as well for what you're doing.
Awesome.
Toana, Toana?
Yes, Adventure.
Adventure on twitch.tv/Toana. Actually, I just ended up searching for Toana, and I found it right away. So that's the other thing people could do is search. And are you going to put any animals in there or anything, or is it just what's going to happen?
Well, we were thinking of getting maybe some sort of animals. We're not quite sure. We had tons of little squirrels that show up. They nested in the trees above our place because of it.
And you play music out there. It looks like Bird Beat Fridays, pumped up jams. I like that.
Oh, I guess we never changed it from last night when my wife was playing music.
Oh, I love it. This is great. Play music for the birdies.
Yeah.
I think I think you're on to something. You could use almost any camera depending on the situation. You know, whether you've got power, whether you've got shelter. If it's going to be out in the rain, then yeah. But you could also just put a little roof for it. Which would
can I get you one more other question too?
Sure.
Something else.
Sure.
And this is something that broke my heart. Is Harmony remotes are dying.
I know they're selling them. Yeah.
And I still use the keyboard. Okay. Do you know of anything that would replace that at all?
Which do you use? You broke up there.
Oh, the Harmony remote keyboard.
The keyboard.
Yes, there's nothing out there I found anything close to that. I'm just wondering, maybe you or Scott.
Darn you, Logitech. They're not selling them. They're shutting them down. I misspoke. Harmony remote keyboard. Scott, do you know of anything like that? Do you use it with your TV?
My TV, my PC, my Xbox, my PS4, they all connect to it, and
it's not dead yet. You could continue to use it, and they said they're going to leave the servers up, but at some point you'll want to replace it, right?
That's right.
I'm just wondering anything.
I don't. It's basically a wireless keyboard, and Logitech makes a lot of those. So I've never used a Harmony keyboard.
It had the IR blast and stuff all communicator.
It comes with a Harmony hub, which I think the Harmony hub was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
And probably their other wireless keyboards don't connect to the Harmony hub. So
no.
I don't know of anything else. I'm like you. I'm super sad that Logitech is giving up on Harmony because that's a great system. By all means, keep using it as long as you can, but I don't know if anything's going to replace it.
There's certainly lots of keyboards designed for TVs with trackpads and keyboards on them, but none of them have that ability to do a universal remote control, which is the thing that Harmony offered.
Yeah.
Just keep it. Take good care of it.
Yeah. Don't spill your Coke on it.
Don't mess with it because it's I don't know. This will be an interesting thing. I mean, Harmony's getting out of the business, obviously, because they feel like there's no market for what they're making now that people are using smartphones as remotes and things like that. You don't really need a universal remote as much as you used to. But I think there's probably a sufficient market that somebody might eye this and say, maybe we should get into that business. So I'm hopeful that somebody will come along and replace them. There's just too many people who say, no, I want my Harmony hub.
I want my Harmony hub.
Thank you. Toana Adventure on Twitch.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, enjoy.
I'll leave you now.
How fun is that? I think there's lots of cameras that will do this. As long as you can get power out to it. Oh, and you want audio too, don't you? You want audio too. I'm almost thinking, like a camcorder, if you could shelter it, would have better audio and video. But certainly the Nest cams, they have outdoor cams that are designed to do exactly that. And they stream. I watch my Nest cam all day and all night. So I know what's going on out there. I know they stream. Back to Mr. Wilkinson.
Hey, Leah, what was that guy's Twitch channel? Toana?
Toana Adventure.
Toana Adventure.
And it's twitch.tv/Toana Adventure. Yeah, it was cool.
All right, I want to check that out.
Yeah. So somebody said you got fiber.
I did. Well, this week we got a knock on our door, and AT&T said, "We're installing fiber in your neighborhood." I said, "Finally!"
Woo.
Jeez. So they were back in our backyard, stringing up fiber across the poles.
Have they made an offer to you yet, or
not yet? Not yet.
Yeah.
I asked him. I said, "When am I going to be able to sign up for this?" He said, "It'll be turned on in about 30 days."
Yeah, it probably takes a while to get it all up and
Right.
running. Yeah,
But man, I'm going to switch over there the minute I can.
that's nice.
A gig up and down.
Oh, symmetric, even better.
Yeah.
Don't get that crappy Uverse though. I don't think you need that. Just the fiber.
No. I don't. No.
I'm not a big fan of the TV offering.
No. But the internet.
Symmetric gigabit is pretty special. Did they say
Oh,
what the
yeah.
price will be?
No. No, he didn't
Oh,
know
well,
that.
wait a minute. It's $60 a month, including HBO Max. Well, that's not so bad.
That's not so
really
bad.
good. For
I
a
actually
gigabit.
already pay for HBO Max.
Yeah.
I wonder if you have to have Uverse, if that's
a good
HBO
question.
Max on Uverse.
Boy, that's great. I'm so jealous.
I've been living in this house for 22 years. And, you know, my friend Mike Klein, Mike Mann in the chat room, he's got gigabit symmetric in Glendale, next door, essentially, you know, next city over. And I'm going, I want that.
I'm glad that they haven't given up wiring neighborhoods. It's expensive, but I'm glad they're doing it.
Exactly. And it's really surprising that they haven't done it in Burbank before now. I mean, Burbank is media central.
Yeah, plus it's very dense, so
Yeah.
that's really why they do it, because you have to have a certain number of people within a square mile to make it worthwhile.
Right, exactly. So,
But they're putting it on poles, not in the ground. That's interesting.
No, that's correct. We have poles here.
Yeah.
And in fact, our poles are between lots. So it's in the mid. So it's in our backyard and the next street over backyard. It's between our lots.
Right.
So they had to get permission from everybody to go back into their backyard and
Right.
and
Good.
string up this fiber. So I said, "You bet, man, go."
I wonder if anybody says, no, can't do it. Don't want it in my backyard. Probably, huh? Anyway, I'll give it to you.
Probably.
You got 5 minutes. Enjoy.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. So let's see. A Beatmaster asked if I was going to talk about rising TV prices because of shortages. I don't have any hard information on that. Certainly chip shortages and so on are probably going to increase TV prices. We'll see how much. I hope not much. Let's see. Yes, Beatmaster sent me a TechSpot article about global chip crunch causing rise in TV prices. I'm going to have to read that one. Yeah, and there's another one. So yeah, it's going to be a problem. Oh, Beatmaster asked a great question about these dual cell TVs, LCD TVs, where you have the imaging LCD panel, and then behind it you have this modulation panel, which is essentially local dimming. And he asked, how much brightness gets absorbed by that second panel? That's a great question, because it does. It does lower the brightness. So you have to either A, and probably both, increase the brightness of the backlight, which means it's going to get hotter and means it's going to consume more power. And you have to make sure that that second layer is as transmissive as possible. And that's one of the things that Sharp was talking about in their SID talk, was that they have developed a very high transmissibility, high transmissive second layer, so that more of the light gets through, which means the backlight doesn't have to get as much brighter. So this is an excellent question, and I don't know how Hisense solved it. Tech Dino asks, will it require calibration? Well, yeah, they all do. This will too. This only affects the brightness. It doesn't affect the color, hopefully. But that second layer is a monochrome layer. It's just dark to bright. It doesn't have any color information in it at all. That's all in the first. That's all in the first, or the imaging layer, as we would call it. Let's see. Mike B says AT&T owns HBO, so probably not without Uverse. That may very well be. I already subscribe to HBO Max. That might be your challenge once you get fiber, is to max out your connection. Yeah. Well, we'll see. You know, my wife, she does online seminars and stuff, and I do this show, and you know, we could maybe get there. We could maybe get there. So let's see here. Oh, I need to be on Zoom to see my time. Oh, I got almost 3 minutes. Yay. Let's see. Mike B says, I'll never do it. Probably not. A gigabit? I would be surprised if I was able to do it. And Mike B says, I've tried. So let's see if anybody else has any questions for me in the next 2.5 minutes. Happy to answer as best I can. Let's see. Well, we're actually starting to work on Kol Nidre already, Jewish New Year. Because at this point, we're planning an online event, but with California going completely open June 15th, that may not be. We may be able to do an in-person event, which would be great. I'd love to do a live performance again. But at this point, we're just sort of pre-planning to make sure we're ready in case we have to do it online. Beatmaster, any recent TV show or movie that has piqued my interest? Yes, absolutely. I'm really digging the remake of Kung Fu. It's on the CW. It's actually broadcast TV. And it's, you all remember, I'm sure, the 70s show Kung Fu with David Carradine. This one is set in modern time with a female protagonist who was a Shaolin monk at a female monastery. How realistic that is, I don't know, but there it is. The characters are nicely drawn. They've got some depth to them. It's not just, the fight of the week. There is, obviously some kung fu fighting in there, but there's some mystical elements. It's really good. I really like it a lot. Mike B says he thinks the high holidays will be indoors again. Wouldn't that be nice? I hope so. I'm not going to put a mask over the shofar. Mike Ice. Oh, God. So, let's see. That sounds like that's about it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Scotty. Have a great week.
Thanks, you too. See you next Saturday.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography. We could talk about smartphones. We could talk about smartwatches. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Google had its Google I.O. this week, their developer conference. They skipped it last year. They just couldn't be bothered. Too much trouble. Who cares, they said. And you know what I say to them after this week's? Who cares? Google. I thought maybe we'd see some new phones. Nope. Maybe some new Chromebooks. Nope. Maybe, I don't know, home automation, Google? Nope. Well, what do you got for us, Google? Well, guess what? We're bringing back Wear OS, the watch operating system, now with Fitbit. Okay, well, thanks. I'll see you later, Google. Bye. I don't know what's going on with that company. They make too much money in advertising. That's what's going on. And they don't care about anything else. And I think that they're starting to realize that. So, fine. Stick to search. That's good. You do a good job with that. Android 12, the next version of Android, they kind of teased that. There is a public demo. I installed it on my Pixel phone. And it's nice. It's pretty. The whole technology world is moving as it does. They all move. Somehow they move in concert. I guess it's like the fashion world. Jeans are in 1 year, mini skirts another, long skirts another. They just, it cycles through this stuff. The same thing happens now in tech. So the new fashion is very colorful, very flat. They call it Material U. Material U is the name that they're going for. Okay, fine. They had the designer who does all this stuff come out and talk about it. He's from Chile, Matthias. And I had to write it down because he said the whole inspiration for Google's new design, emotion is essential, beauty is everything. Great. Okay, but is the phone going to work? Is the camera going to work? They didn't really have anything to say about that. They did update Google Photos. There's going to be some new kind of interesting features in Google Photos, something they call little patterns. Actually, I use Google Photos, so this I'm kind of interested in this, even though I use an iPhone too. Google Photos works everywhere. Little patterns will notice. This is ripe for problems, but will notice patterns in your photos, and if it notices, it'll say, "Hey, look, I saw this same orange backpack in 153 of your photos," is the example they gave. I made a little montage of your orange backpack. That's good. Stick with the orange backpack. If it's me picking my nose, I don't want a montage of that. No, thank you. I just think there's things you might not want a montage of, but I guess only you will see it. So there. That's part of it. Little patterns. They're also going to be showing a very strange feature. They said, well, you know how it is when you take pictures of your kids. You take many pictures, 5 or 6, hoping to get one good one. Yeah, that's normal. I do that all the time anyway. It's just kind of a natural habit, right? Well, it turns out what they're going to do is if there's 2 pictures close together in time, they're going to make up what's in between and make... I have to say, the effect when Google showed it is kind of creepy. Did you ever see morphing where one face turns into another? That's what this looks like. They're going to basically do morphing. Oh, okay. So there's a few new things, but this was not, I was less than blown away. A lot of people thought their new project Starline was interesting. I should have talked about this with Scott Wilkinson because he and I both saw this new light field projection technology at CES last year, 2020, January 2020. It's the only 3D technology I know of where you get 3-dimensional objects without wearing special goggles, glasses, or visors or anything. But you have to, at the time, you had to kind of stick your head in a box. Now, Google's got and I'm sure this is hideously expensive. They're not offering it for sale or anything. They're doing it in some of their offices. They're using light field to project a 3D image of the person you're talking to. You're having a conference call, and you're seeing... But it only works with one person that has to have the star line projector on both sides, which I'm sure is tens of thousands of dollars. It's a demo. And that was the problem with pretty much everything Google talked about. It was all demos of things they're working on. They had a little game where you could talk to the planet or really big ice rock, Pluto. Okay. It was hard to get too excited about it, and I was really hoping for more. I was excited to hear about the next Google phone, the Pixel 6. I was excited to hear what they're going to do with photography. They'd been the leaders years ago. They were the leaders in camera phone photography, and then they've been coasting for the last 3 years. Yeah, we're just going to do that again. It really feels like Google's kind of lost their mojo. They're just they're just kind of floating along. You see that happen to friends and family, right? They get to a certain point and they're just floating along. Nothing new. Nothing new. Don's on the line from Los Angeles. Our next caller. Hi, Don. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. I listen to you guys all the time. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate your listening.
I'm a retired computer teacher. I've been retired for almost 10 years, and I came into a little problem with Outlook. Hotmail, they said, closed down, but it didn't really. It's still on Outlook. But the problem is, if there's more than one person using the computer, it put two default email addresses together.
Oh.
And I'm trying to figure out how to fix it so it's correct.
Well, the way Windows works is it assumes that you're the only person using that account. If somebody else wants to use an account, they should create their own login, which is attached to their Outlook.com account, and then this won't happen. It sounds like you've got one login for two people, and this other person set up their Outlook.com account, and now you've set up your Outlook.com account. Only one can win, I guess.
Right.
Unless you use – one way you could do this is by using different browsers. So all of this is just stored in a cookie, which Outlook account. The only issue is there's one thing you can do in Windows. You can say, when I click a mail to link on a web page, and, in other words, a link to send email to somebody, it will open up Outlook in the browser. And if you've got that set up, it's going to pick one account, and that's the account it's going to use.
Right.
Is that kind of what you're experiencing?
Well, I'm using only Microsoft Edge now, although I have the other browsers. But on Microsoft Edge, when you set up Hotmail login, it goes to the Outlook default.
Right. Because in fact, if you just go in a browser to Hotmail.com, Hotmail.com right now, it'll go to Outlook.com because that's right. That's it. But the address will still work at Hotmail.com will still work, but it all goes into Outlook.com.
Right.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I've tried various things. Each time you have to kind of delete the bad parts and then fix it, and then it'll log in.
So is it another person using your account? Is that what's going on?
No, it's just two different people, two different accounts.
Two different people, two different accounts. So two different email addresses?
Right.
And somehow it's conflated both addresses to one inbox?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, it's not really. It just says username, and then it has the two email accounts tied together, and you got to delete one or the other. And there's probably some way to restore that, but I don't know what.
Yeah, so the way it knows who's logged in is by a cookie. So another way to do that would be to get a different browser, say Chrome, log in on that browser to one account, and then log in on Edge to the other account, and just have to use different accounts. If you're logging in, you understand how cookies work. It's a saved setting, and so it's saving, as each person logs in, it's saving that, and it's putting it all in a unified inbox, because there are people who have multiple email accounts going into one inbox. That's how they want it. That's not how you want it.
Right.
So not sure how when you go to Outlook.com, it doesn't say Outlook.com, Don's mailbox. It's just Outlook.com. And so if you've authorized two different accounts on that same Outlook.com, you're going to see all those mails mushed together. I think another browser would work. If you look at it in the upper right-hand corner, you are signed into a Microsoft account. What you've done is you've associated both those email addresses with that Microsoft account. And what you could do, if you click as I look at my Outlook.com, my initials are in the upper right-hand corner, maybe even a picture of you or something, but your account is that upper right-hand corner. If you click that, you'll see you're signed into a Microsoft account, and you've now associated both addresses with that. What you can do is you can see sign out, sign into a different account, associate the other address with a different account, sign out, and that's a little bit of a pain. That's why I suggest two different browsers, which would have the same effect. The cookie is saying this is the account you're signed into, but you can sign out of it, sign into another one, associate the other email address with that. I guess that's probably the best way to do it. Sign in and sign out. I can't think of any third way. It's really if you've been teaching computers, you understand that we went from Windows 95, which was basically one user, do anything you want. As soon as NT came along, it became a multi-user system. But along with that came the notion of an account. And when you log into your computer, you're logging in to your account. the presumption is that's you. Those are your files. That's your email. And if you want to use different emails with different people, they should either have their own account or log into a different account on different browsers, or you're going to have to sign in and sign out each time you use Outlook.com. I think that's those three choices. Our show today, our podcast today, brought to you by Manscaped, makers of the Lawnmower 4.0 and the brand new, very excited about this, Ultra Smooth package from Manscaped. Let me show you this. This is so awesome. Gentlemen, quarantine is about to end. You don't want to emerge from your cage looking like a Sasquatch. John even got a haircut. John, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. I don't know if you've been manscaping. I haven't checked, but it is probably the case that if you're going to go out into the world, you should clean up a little bit between the legs, if you know what I mean. Manscaped is the go-to for men's below-the-belt grooming products. Time to stop, drop, and order this brand new shaving kit. They just launched the Ultra Smooth Packaged. It's a specialized kit to help you buff, protect, and smooth your most sensitive areas. You get the crop shaver. You get the crop exfoliator. You get the crop gel. Time to crop all that growth you've been promoting for the last 12 months. Get right to the roots with a great discount just for you. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/twit. Now, you can choose from a variety of Manscaped products. By the way, I'm a big fan of the lawnmower, which they've just updated to 4.0. This is the legendary electric hair trimmer. But now the razor and set to get you trimmed front and back. No longer do you have to borrow your lady's razor for your special, precise trimming. This is really nicely designed. Let me open this up for you so I can show you. It's easy to hold because you know what? You've got curves and turns and twists and stuff. So you want something here. I'll tell you what. You want something that's easy to hold. It's not giant. It's got glide strips top and bottom, which is really nice. It's smaller, it's thicker, it's got a micro comb hair bar that allows for the best shave possible from any angle. And if you've ever tried this, angle can be challenging, yes. And then you can also, when you're doing it, you should probably use, just to smooth the way, the crop gel, which, by the way, smells fantastic. It's manly, but it's really, You'll see where you're shaving with this unique clear shaving gel just for those special areas. 4 essential oils. It's like a spa treatment every time you shave. There's also the crop exfoliator. That's nice too. That's nice too. It can soothe, clear, and keep the skin on and around your most tender regions feeling refreshed. It also reduces the risk of ingrown hairs in your delicate places. So I think you use this afterwards. Look at that. What a nice little kit. You know, Dad would love this for Father's Day. Your favorite grad would love it. It's a great way to both inspire and embarrass the grad in your life. Maybe not give it to him in front of other people, or maybe. All 3 vegan, cruelty-free, sulfate-free products, so you know your manhood is in good hands. It's time to get up close and personal with the best tools for the job. The Ultra Smooth Package from Manscaped. Get on over there. Manscaped, Manscaped, manscaped.com/twit. You'll get 20% off plus free shipping. Smooth it out, fellas. Your lady friends or gentlemen friends will really appreciate it, I think. You want to look good, you know, when you're coming out of quarantine. You don't want to look like a Sasquatch. You don't want to look like a civilized human being. Manscaped.com/twit. Get 20% off plus free shipping. Somebody in the chat room says, well, I would hope they're cruelty-free. Of course they are, both to you and to our little furry friends. Manscaped. Manscaped.com/twit for 20% off and free shipping. Thank you, Manscaped, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. We appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us by using that address so they know you saw it here. Manscaped. We actually love this stuff. Manscaped.com/twit. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. On the line, Art from San Juan Capistrano, California. Hello, Art.
Hello, Leo. I'm so glad to talk to you. I've enjoyed you so many long drives. You're so entertaining.
Oh, I'm so appreciative. Thank you for the kind words.
Now, listen, I'm not a techie. When I went to grammar school, we had inkwells. I'm 82 years old, and I want to know how, in heaven's name, I can cut the cord. I've got one smart TV and a 17-year-old plasma that has a beautiful picture.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll trade it in for a smart TV. I am so up to my nose with these bills that I get for cable TV.
Oh, everybody's so cheesed off. So, cutting the cord means instead of getting television programming through an antenna or through cable, you're getting it through the internet. And actually, technically, you could get it through antenna. You don't need a cable for that. And for a lot of people, certainly if you live near a metro, antenna is going to be a good supplement. But let's take a look first at what you can get over what we call over the top through the internet. And remember, you're going to have to pay for internet service, high-speed internet service. That's probably going to be $60 a month for, you'd need at least, you'd like 100 megabits probably. You need at least 25 to 50, but you're going to want 100 megabits down. Now, of course, you already probably have Netflix. You know about that. There are lots of other services. So there's these independent services. HBO Max gets you all the HBO stuff, the Warner.
I have Prime, as a matter of fact.
Prime, perfect. So Amazon Prime, another excellent streaming service. So Netflix and Prime. So those are kind of like your movie channels. And you can get all the movie channels, HBO, Showtime. The other thing people often say, well, I'm going to miss is local news, sports, the kind of thing you get on channel 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the local television channels. Right. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. So antenna is one. But if you don't have good antenna service or you don't want to bother with the hardware you need to get antenna television, then you can also do that over the top. There are a number of companies like YouTube TV, Hulu, Sling that offer basically local stations. There's even one that's kind of semi-free called Locast, Locast. They kind of bug you until you give them $5 a month, but then you can get all the local stations in your area. So you can go to Locast and see, I think it's locast.com, and see what areas they serve, and they definitely serve San Juan Capistrano. You'll get the LA stations. So if you go to locast.org, these are all ways to get over the internet your content.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned smart TV. You don't need a smart TV. In fact, I don't even recommend a smart TV. But you do need something that connects to the internet that puts it on your TV, including that 17-year-old plasma. And that would be, I would say, you don't need the smarts in the TV. You need the smarts in a box. And companies like Roku, Apple, Amazon, and others sell these boxes. They connect to the internet, sometimes by Wi-Fi. Better, ideally, to connect it via Ethernet, direct connect, but Wi-Fi is fine. And then they connect to your TV, usually through an HDMI cable. I don't know what your plasma uses, probably not HDMI, but you'd have to figure that out.
I think it's HDMI 1.
Okay, well, if it supports HDMI, that makes it easy. It looks like you told our call screener that you have an iPad and an iPhone as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got the iPad in 2014, and I'm checking on it, and it looks like it's going to be non-supported. But I should probably use it. I'm tired of using a PC. I just don't like Windows.
I don't blame you. You don't need a PC. Probably everything you do, you could do on an iPad. And there's new iPads, and they start at $300. The iPad also can be used as a television device. But the reason I mention that is because I mentioned that Apple, Roku, Amazon, and others sell these boxes that connect to the internet and then your TV. The Apple TV, which is unfortunately the most expensive of the bunch, also works with your phone and your iPad, so that if you can get something on your phone, you can send it to the Apple TV and watch it on your TV. So it gives you an additional capability. You could put YouTube on there or Twitch or a variety of other streaming things. So the idea really conceptually is we're going to replace the cable with internet, and we're going to get all the TV channels off the internet. And in my opinion, the best way to connect it to your TV is with an independent box. I think Roku is probably the best. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I ran out of time. I didn't finish the whole thing, but stay with me because I'll talk to you in between. Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait.
So, no, we don't. We don't have to do it. So far, what I've said, does that make sense?
It all makes sense. I want to ask you one other thing.
Sure.
Down here in San Juan Capistrano, we have Cox. And they're the only cable station that does not cover the SNLA station, which has the Dodgers.
Oh, man.
And they don't do it. They think that I go to San Diego, I can watch Dodgers. I can't in San Juan Capistrano.
What baseball do you get? What team do they think?
Dodgers.
What team do they think you follow?
Cincinnati Reds.
Oh my God, you're kidding. So there are a number of ways to get Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball has an app, so you can stream on the MLB app, but you have to pay for that.
Yeah, I do, but I can't watch Dodger games every day that I want to.
Right.
MLB is selective.
Yes. So the other way to do that is to look at Hulu Live or YouTube TV or AT&T Now or one of these other over-the-top services that provide locals. They'll give you the Dodger games on your local channel.
Oh, great.
My favorite for that, they're all expensive now because the local channels have started charging them through the roof to get this stuff. So they've all gone up. My favorite is YouTube TV. I think it's very good. It has a built-in DVR, so it'll record the games. You can say, I want you to record everything that has the word Dodgers in it from now on, and you can come home and you'll see the pregame, postgame, everything, if you want to do that. So that's YouTube TV. But
can I also record? Can I also record a regular television show?
You sure can.
I like to watch Blue Bloods.
Yeah. You record it automatically. You can even skip through the ads.
Great. That's what I do.
Yeah, so it's a nice, of course, who doesn't? So it's a nice DVR. That's my favorite. It's YouTube TV, but it's not cheap. You're going to, here's the thing. When you add all this up, you may say, well, wait a minute. That's no cheaper than Cox was. Because you got to get Cox internet. They're going to raise it because you're not getting the TV. They're going to add a $10 surcharge. Now, YouTube TV, which I think is $50 a month now, maybe $55, they keep raising it. 65 now? Yeah. They've now raised it again, 65. So now we're at 125 probably. Then Netflix, another $11, $12. Then you're getting Prime, thank goodness. That comes with your Prime subscription. But you'll see is they nickel and dime you. And all of this has been set up in such a way that you end up paying very close to the same amount, in my opinion, as you would for cable TV.
Really?
Isn't that funny?
Well, but they don't force you. The other people don't force you to have a landline.
Well, I'd be mad at Cox for not carrying the Dodgers games. That alone means they deserve to be fired. So, but you're going to probably have to keep them because you're going to need the internet from them. So, you may not be able to say goodbye to them. You grew up in Los Angeles, of course. You bleed Dodger blue. You want to see those games.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't want to watch Cincinnati Reds games. I want Dodgers games, damn it.
I grew up in Los Angeles, for crying out loud.
Oh, you grew up with Vin Scully, the greatest baseball announcer of all time.
I actually got to meet him and have a half-hour conversation with him. He was such a gentleman,
Nobody better. And I'm a Giants fan, and I still say nobody better than Vin Scully. He was the greatest. Yeah.
At least my high school is orange and black.
I would feel the same way about the Giants. My dad grew up in New York when the Giants and the Dodgers were both in New York still, and he was so mad at the Dodgers for leaving town, he became a Giants fan, and then they left.
That's right. Well,
Hey.
actually, the Dodgers calls the Giants to San Francisco with it.
Yeah, they both left about the same time. Hey, I got to run. I hope that helps you, Art.
Thank
It's a
you.
great question. It's
Yeah, a
nice
lot.
to have you listening. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's Tony Jet with a brand new death metal version of I've Been Everywhere. Who sings that, Professor Laura? Huh? Nikki Sixx. Yeah, it sounds like it. I've been everywhere, man. Hello, Johnny Jet.
Good. I'm not sure if I like that version.
I'm a Johnny Cash fan, I confess. Lady, Professor Laura threw us a little curve there. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Is Dad still visiting?
Oh, yeah. He's passed out on the couch upstairs. And
I've seen some videos on your Instagram of him cuddling the grandkids, and man, it just warms my heart. It's so
he
nice.
couldn't be happier. The difficult part is trying to get him out of the house now. He's like, I'm not going home. My wife makes him fresh squeezed orange juice every day.
He's moving in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's great.
But actually, the only way I can get him out is because he wants to see his other grandkids. My brother's in Connecticut. So I've been trying to figure out a cheap way to fly him first class to New York, where we live right outside. We grew up right outside.
Yeah, and
the city.
And
so I think I finally cracked the code for American Airlines award tickets. So the trick is, which I shouldn't be telling you this because I haven't done it yet in terms of, because I need to get my own tickets. But 3 hours before the flight, it seems like they lower it from like 115,000 miles each way to like 35,000. First class, lie flat seat,
Wow.
New York, LA, which is plush.
only if those seats are flying empty, of course.
Of course, but fortunately, there's not a lot of business travelers flying right now.
Yeah.
So they are, but so it's a one way to get a cheap first class ticket.
Nice.
So,
Very nice.
So I wrote a post on that. But other news this week is a new airline, second airline in a month, and I think the first two in over 10 years. Breeze Airways, the founder of JetBlue and former CEO, he left. And it's called Breeze. They're based out of like 4 different cities: Tampa, Charleston, New Orleans, Norfolk. And they're going to fly. This guy started 5 airlines. This is his 5th airline, all successful. And to start an airline is not easy. They all say, the quickest way for a billionaire to become a millionaire is to start an airline.
There are a lot of ways, actually, it turns out. So Breeze Airlines is flybreeze.com, BREEZ. It's another low-cost airline, yeah?
Yeah, so what he did is he started Brazil's Azul airline, which was the low, and he took a lot of their old planes that they're not flying, the Embraers, 190s and 195s, and he's going to fly them on these routes. It starts, actually, he announced just 2 days ago, and they're going to start flying on the 27th of May from Tampa to Charleston. And
looks like they're going to
$39.
do Providence and a lot of small-town airport kind of things.
They are, and they're rolling it out over the next 6 months. Actually, in 6 months from now, they're going to start flying new A220s.
Nice.
Which is similar to the Embraer, but it's Airbus.
It's funny, when quarantine started, all the airlines, all the big airlines were saying, we're going to go out of business, give us money. That's the government. They said, you got to send us money, you got to bail us out. Why is it all these airlines are starting up all of a sudden?
Well, both these airlines have been in the works for years.
Okay.
And they're actually, the COVID's actually helped them because they're for leisure travelers, not business travelers.
Yeah, business travelers don't go the low-cost airlines. They want the first class treatment because the company's paying for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want lie flat seat, all that stuff I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get it on these.
Okay.
But
okay.
It's a good alternative.
Good way to save money. Absolutely. Yeah.
It is. But also, in the news this week is, again, Hawaii with the car rentals. It is not just Hawaii, everywhere. Before you book your plane tickets, you got to look and see what the car rental situation is if you need to rent one, because it could be 5 times as much as your plane ticket, and you can't even get them. I was just looking. You cannot get one in Hawaii for June and July on certain dates. Most dates, actually, when I was looking.
You know what we decided to do? We're going to go to Oahu in July.
Okay.
And we're not going to get a rental car because it's a city. We'll be able to get a lot around Honolulu. And then we're going to book. There's a company called Tours by Locals that I really love, and we've used them all over the world. They're just local tour guides, and the Tours by Locals just aggregates them. They don't own them. And you can find local tours where they drive you around. So we're booking a couple of tours by locals. They'll come, they'll pick us up at the hotel, they'll take us over to Pearl Harbor or to Diamond Head or the North Coast, and we'll get to see the island, but we won't have to rent a car.
Smart. That's exactly the way you should do it.
We won't have to drive either, which I like.
For sure.
Yeah, we can have some Mai Tais on the way.
When I went to surprise my dad last week in South Florida, I reserved the car with Avis. And then the day before I checked the prices and there were no cars available. And I got nervous. I was like, I don't want to show up late at night and there'll be no cars available because it all depends if the renter returns it on time.
Right.
So I ended up using I was a brand ambassador for Black Lane. I'm not anymore, but I had a bunch of vouchers left over and they have a new pricing, only $159 from Miami to Palm Beach, which before it was double that price. So I figured, you know what, this is the best time to use it. And also because dropping my dad off the airport would be a nightmare in a rent-a-car. And he went in style. So you look at car services, not just Black Lane, obviously. Look at all different ones. So if you're just going to the resort or a hotel and you're going to walk around, like I love walking around Waikiki when I'm there. And if you're going to explore islands, definitely that's a great tip. I actually might make that a tip.
Yeah.
So
get somebody else to drive you. And there's because it's Honolulu, it's mass transit as well. So we could also do that. But I think we're spend most of the time just going down to the beach. I don't need.
Yeah, and they're saying this car rental could be 2 years.
What?
The chip shortage is really a problem. They're saying at least a year or two.
So what happened was because of COVID, the car rental companies sold off their fleets, figuring, well, when it's over, we'll buy new cars. And now there's a shortage.
Global chip shortage.
Didn't count on that.
No, they didn't. So keep that in mind. There's also Turo.com where you can rent from locals all over. But also with Hawaii, keep in mind, I read a story this morning that people are waiting an hour and a half to land, even the vaccinated travelers. So Hawaii really needs to start allowing people who are vaccinated to bypass these lines because it's a deterrent. Yeah. And I wrote a story this week about Europe, 5 reasons why not to go to Europe. And one of them is because the UK, there's up to 4 to 9 hour waits when you land. I used to get ticked off when I had to wait 40 minutes. I can't imagine that with kids.
Oy, wouldn't that be a nightmare?
So you want to do your research before, but things are opening up. Puerto Rico announced this week that they're going to allow, they're going to drop the testing for vaccinated travelers, which is great. You can now get testing at Miami Airport. I
saw that the House passed a bill allowing cruise lines to buy, it used to have to requirement that they had to go to an international port. Right. If they're going from Seattle to Alaska, they had to stop in Victoria, but Canada won't let them in. So the House has now passed a bill saying, it's okay. For the time being, you can skip Canada, just go straight to Alaska, because most cruise lines, even the American cruise lines, are not flagged in the U.S., so they have to follow these rules. I have to say, I love stopping in Victoria and Vancouver. Right. Those are great cities to stop in, but as long as Canada won't let us. We're going to have a big travel announcement, I think, next weekend. I'll do it on with you. Yeah,
and I do think I think the Senate will pass that.
It has to get through the Senate, and of course the president has to sign it. But
it does. Yeah. Alaska needs it. I mean, they really need it.
It's really an Alaska relief bill, is what it is.
But cruise ships, they're starting to plan now. There are a bunch of Norwegian, I think Royal Caribbean. A few of them have announced that they're going to start sailing in Alaska, so they're anticipating that it's going to pass.
Yeah.
Also, what just opened up is JetBlue just announced this week that they're going to start flying to London. They announced the dates. It was the cheapest mint ticket you could get, fly flat seats, $1,900 a round trip between New York and London. They got snapped up pretty quick.
I bet they did.
But coach was $599. So, but keep looking because they're going to start adding Boston next year on that route, and so the prices are going to go down, I think, on some routes.
You can learn more about all of this. Johnny Jet has a fabulous travel blog at johnnyjet.com. His newsletters are there too, all free, all excellent. His podcast, he does a YouTube channel. He's on Instagram. He's on Twitter. Wherever you are, you search for Johnny Jet. You're going to find great travel information, including right here. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
I know, I told Lisa we'll do. I don't care. Big Island or Oahu. I haven't done either of those, and she chose. I'm not sure why she chose Oahu, but she did. So we're gonna go to Oahu.
I love Oahu, and
I've never been. I thought, and I want to see the Pearl Harbor Monument. I want to see all that stuff. So
I still can't. I can't believe you've never been, but
I know
you've been to.
I've been to
the other
Maui
islands.
many times.
Right.
We were in Kauai the last time.
But with Maui, you need a double test. Now you need to, when you land, you got to do another test.
Well, she said we have a friend who was just in Hawaii. She said, make sure you talk to the airline about what the requirements are, because they will turn you away if
They will turn you away, or they'll make you quarantine.
Yeah.
And they're strict. They're very strict.
Yeah. Well, we're only going for 1 week, so a quarantine would pretty much destroy the trip. So, Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. Eric on the line from Beaverton, Oregon. Hello, Eric.
Hi, nice to talk to you. I like your show.
Thank you.
And I just had a question. I'm currently living in an apartment and recently upgraded my internet to gigabit because they had a 1-year deal.
Awesome.
I'm paying about $60, which is what I was paying for 100 megabits. And
wow.
So I figured I'd try it for a year. So but the problem is in my apartment, they installed the ONT box in the closet in one end of the apartment, which seems like a kind of a not convenient place for it.
Well, that's probably where the drop is. The ONT is the optical network something or other, doohickey. And of course it's terminal. And of course it's got to go wherever the line comes into the wall. The closet obviously is the worst possible place. You don't want to put a router in the closet. Is it the one they installed, does it have its own Wi-Fi, or can you use your own Wi-Fi?
I can use my own, which I am.
Okay.
And
I mean, one thing you could do, it's an apartment you're renting, so you can't drill holes in the wall, but you could at least get that Wi-Fi access point out of the closet with a wire. And then at that point, how big is the apartment? I
think it's about 900 square feet.
Okay, so it's not huge. So that's enough for one Wi-Fi access point to cover the whole thing. The problem is, of course, Wi-Fi doesn't like stuff in between, like walls and people. Are you having trouble with it? Is it hard for the Wi-Fi to work?
No, I haven't had trouble, but I have a couple of PCs in the second bedroom, and I ended up to take advantage of the gigabit speed. I ended up buying a 75-foot Ethernet cable.
Oh, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. So you got this blue cable snaking through your hall. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Wi-Fi is not going to give you gigabit speed. If your base connection is a gigabit, Wi-Fi will give you at best maybe 800 megabits, probably more like 600 or 500. Usually we say Wi-Fi is about a half as fast as the wired network would be. If you have, golly, how could we do this? There's power line networking, but it's also going to cut your speed lower than gigabit. I mean, the only thing that's going to be gigabit is when you get in the closet with the laptop and you plug it directly into the ONT, unfortunately. Or that long wire. Does that work all right for you?
Yeah, the wire is working all right.
It's ugly.
That was,
Yeah,
it's just kind of ugly, and I had been using a pair of power line Ethernet adapters before, but I was only getting about 140 megabit through that. See, that's the problem, and that's also somewhat dependent on the wiring that the apartment complex has and so forth. And 140 is really low. That's terrible. How else could we do it? There's something else called Mocha, which is wireless over cable. Do you have cable drops in each part of the house? Yes, I do. It has cable in the rooms, and in fact, when I moved in here, I bought a little tester device so I could test to see which ones are connected. And
that's good.
Them are.
If they're connected, then Mocha will allow you to use the cable in its multimedia over coaxial alliance. But what it really is Ethernet over coax, and that probably is going to be your best bet. It's going to be faster certainly than power line, probably faster than the Wi-Fi even. The problem is now you have to get Mocha routers, which is not inexpensive. I mean, they're not horribly expensive, but you're going to have to get one on each end and so forth. So in theory, they can go as fast as, I don't know, a gigabit for sure. That's about the only other way I think you can do it, other than drilling a hole in the wall, and I take it you can't do that. So.
Yeah, and I don't think I can do that. But
what's the ONT connected to? What does it look like in the closet in the wall there? Does it look like an Ethernet jack, or does it look like something else? He's looking. I can hear the closet door opening.
It has a cable coming out of it, and I can't really tell.
It's cable, or yeah. So that's why they put it there. That's where the drop is. There's no other place they could put it. I think Mocha's going to be your best bet at this point. We'll put Mike B in the chat room has put a link up to an Instructables article on how to set up a Mocha network. It requires hardware on both ends. It is probably going to be close to Ethernet speed. The only drawback is the expense, but I think it's probably a good way of going. This article is a good primer in what you would need and so forth to do it. That's about it, right? Wi-Fi is going to be the easiest way to do it. But what kind of Wi-Fi speeds are you getting?
Through Wi-Fi, I think I was getting about maybe 60 megabit or something.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, no wonder you want to do this. That's worse than Powerline was. Oh yeah, you should be getting a lot better than that. That might be improved by putting the Wi-Fi router higher up, even if it's in the closet, as high as possible. A mesh system might help too, because you can use that to kind of get the Wi-Fi out of the closet, a short throw to the hallway, then a short throw from the hallway to your office, or that kind of thing. But I think Mocha is going to be probably the fastest thing for you. Action Tech makes some nice Mocha network adapters that would do the job for you, and they claim gigabit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had a question for you too. If
by the way, Mike B says about $115 total cost, which is actually not that bad. It's less than a router, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, and I was wondering if these coax outlets seem like they're not connected to each other, and I was wondering if you knew.
Oh, well, that's another problem. They do have to be. It has to be a direct cable shot. Mocha has a couple of disadvantages. One, especially in an apartment complex, everybody else on that coax can see you. So there are some security features built in, but they'll see your network traffic. And the other one is, of course, there has to be a connection. That's going to be somewhere in the basement of the apartment complex is where that cable comes in to the wall from the outside world, and then there'll be a patch bay or a rack, or maybe just a bunch of splitters hanging off a wall, and you want to make sure those are all connected. One way to get that done, it's a little sneaky, but one way to get that done is to call the cable company, say, hey, I want to be able to move my TV around. Some of these are not lit up, and they'll run out and light them all up for you.
Okay.
If they're not all lit up, that's a problem. Mocha's, I think, going to be your best bet. MOCA, and we'll put in the show notes at techguylabs.com. We'll put a link to an article from a couple of things. We got an article from Instructables on how it works and what to do. I will mention that Mike B., who is apparently using Mocha, recommends Action Tech or MotorolaNetwork.com. That's his router, his Mocha router. So that's on one end. That'll be next to the ONT, the MM1000, and then you'll have to get a terminal on the other end where your office is. And at that point, you could put a switch on it because you'll have enough bandwidth. That now is like an Ethernet connection, so you can put a switch there and connect a variety of devices. Or even, you could even put your Wi-Fi there. That actually might be a better spot to put the Wi-Fi, somewhere where it has more access to everything else. It's nice to get the gigabit. They sometimes with internet, they talk about the last mile. That's the hard part, getting it from the street into the house. But you got the last 10 feet. It's in the house now. Now, how do I get it down the hall? That's the real challenge. Good luck. Yes, I swear. Internet is an afterthought. It's funny because we invented it here, and it's been around for 30 years. Still a little bit of an afterthought, unfortunately. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Hour 3 of the Tech Guy Show. Time to talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888. Ask Google the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Kyle is on the line from I'm sorry, not Kyle. Kyle, you're coming up next. Victor's on the line. He's next. Got to go in order from Columbia, South Carolina. Hello, Victor.
Hi, Leo. It's so great to talk to you. I hate to waste time by saying this, but I am a very long-time listener.
Thank you.
And a first-time caller. And I appreciate the work that you do. I'm a weekly listener.
Never a waste of time to tell me that. That's wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. I'm not a gamer. However, I have a Lenovo ThinkPad, the E570. It's got an i7 processor, 32 gigs of RAM, and I thought that would be adequate to play Flight Simulator 2020.
Oh, Flight Simulator is challenging.
It will not do. This is what I think, but you can tell me if I'm right or not. I think that I know I don't have I have an NVIDIA a video card.
Oh, good.
But it's only 2 gigs, and so I don't think that's enough. But the other thing is the processor. It's an i7. I thought I was good, but it's only 2 cores, and I don't think that's enough.
How old is that machine?
I bought it used at the beginning of the pandemic, so I guess a year.
Well, a year to you, but you got it used.
To me, yeah.
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 So
it made me,
Flight Simulator is notoriously heavy on requirements. So, I'll tell you what they say, but, these are what they call so-called minimum requirements. An i5 4460, that's a much later i5 than your i7.
Okay.
Or a Ryzen 3 1200, an NVIDIA GTX 770, or an AMD Radeon RX 570 GPU. Those are I would suspect more. They're not that modern, but I would bet a little bit heavier duty than what you've got in there. I'm not sure. 8 gigs of RAM. They say you only need 2 gigs of VRAM. That's, by the way, the memory on the video card is mostly for textures. There's a mountain texture, a sky texture, an airplane texture. Those textures are what take up space in the video RAM for the most part. You technically, it sounds like you've got what's required. When you play it, though, is the frame rate super slow, or
no, I don't get it.
It won't even start up.
It starts and then immediately crashes.
Well, that may or may not be a minimum requirement issue. There may be other things going on, of course, if it crashes. Usually, it'll run on low spec machines, but just the frame rate's so low you wouldn't want to play it. Things like that. Crashing doesn't necessarily mean it won't run. I tried uninstalled it, reinstalled it in case there was a problem with the installation. And I have maximized the machine in every way I know how so that it starts up faster. But that's all it does. It crashes faster is what it does.
It gets to the crash faster. Yeah.
That's good. Congratulations. You've made it crash faster. It's funny because I have a very high-end modern machine I just got with a 5900 AMD in it, and the top of the line, one of the top line NVIDIA cards, a 3080, and Flight Sim crashes on me. Now I know if I could get it to run, it would run fine. I've got more than enough processor and RAM and all of that, but I suspect there's something else going on. So crash isn't necessarily indicative of anything. I've never figured out why it crashes on me, but I haven't spent a lot of time on it. You download it from the Windows Store.
Yes.
So in theory, you should be getting everything and all that. It's hard to know. Why is it crashing? I don't know. I do know that Flight Sim, and especially the 2020 version, is pretty darn demanding. Have you ever played any other games on that system?
No. I've never had an interest in playing another game.
Yeah.
Can I just add one more thing? When it starts up, it does give me the note that the caution that your computer does not meet the minimum requirements. Oh. As a result, you may experience errors during the game.
Yeah, well,
no during the game.
You can't. The very first error is bam.
Yeah.
If it's saying when it starts you don't have enough, then you don't. Dual core i7. That sounds really, really old. Even people with brand new machines have trouble running Flight Sim. It's very, very challenging. So I think that this is. We don't know exactly how old this machine is, but a dual core i7 sounds pretty darn old.
And is there any way that you could? Is there a workaround that you might recommend?
No, not on that machine. You can't. There's nothing you could do. Okay. It's a laptop, right?
Yeah, it's a laptop.
Yeah. No, there's nothing.
I love this machine.
Yeah, it's great. As long what. This is the problem, and pretty much one of the few things that really challenges modern hardware is gaming. It's what's pushing modern hardware forward, and you picked one of the hardest games to play, so it's not surprising that a 6 or 7 year old computer is not going to play that game. It's just too old. Sorry.
Is there another machine because now, I tried so hard to get it.
Now you want to play it, don't you?
Yeah,
got to watch out, because the next thing you'll be buying a flight yoke and pedals. You'll be getting a special chair. You're going to be careful.
One thing at a time.
This is a very dangerous hobby. Oh, now I need 3 27-inch monitors to simulate the windows. This is getting it can add up.
Is there a laptop?
Oh, sure.
Or desktop.
Yes.
Because this is going to be the only thing I'm going to use that machine for.
You're going to spend at least $1,000. Lenovo makes Alienware makes laptops that would run it. They're from Dell. That's a gaming platform, and that's one of the reasons people will buy these. Lenovo makes the Legion laptop. Their gaming laptop. That's another one. So yes, there are absolutely laptops that'll run this, but they're going to be the latest, and they're going to be expensive.
Which of the two would you prefer? I think I've heard you say before that you think highly of Lenovo's product.
I have an Alienware, and I don't have a gaming laptop from either company. I have an Alienware desktop, but I have been hearing very good things about the Lenovo Legion. Here, I'm going to add one more problem to you. There is a massive chip shortage going on, and it's hitting hardest in these gaming cards. So it may be, I know people who've been waiting for months to get their Legion. So, okay. but Lenovo makes a Legion. They start about $1,100 that will absolutely play Flight Sim. You may wish you had like I said, you may wish you had 3 screens. And that they were each 20.
I do have 3 screens on.
All right. Yeah.
On my system, on my current system.
The people who get serious can really sink a lot of money into this game. But you know what? It's like flying. I've heard from pilots. This is the closest thing to the real deal out there.
I played with this game like in 2020 or earlier.
Yeah.
And it was just such great
Everybody's thrilled Microsoft brought this back. This was one of the great games of all time. Yeah. And not only they brought it back, they have updated it. You can fly around the Eiffel Tower, and it's like you're there. It's incredible. But you're going to spend a lot of money to play this game. I mean, that's just a fact.
Well, I'll spend $1,000 if I have to. I thought the biggest expense was going to be the game itself, but it turns out
not even close. The game's cheap. It's $60. It's nothing.
Well, I get the deluxe.
Oh, you got the $100 version. All right. Okay. Yeah. No. You're spending at least $1,000 now to get a gaming machine. And I would inquire. I would look specifically and say, will this run Flight Simulator?
Yeah.
But I think the Legions, everybody seems to agree they're very good gaming laptops, yeah. Asus makes them, the ROG, Republic of Gamer Systems. That's another, somebody in the chat room is bringing that up, and I think they're excellent too, the ROGs. Those are the 3 probably, Alienware, ROG. There's a lot of smaller companies too, but laptops are a kind of specialized thing, so
And I know that you have recommended in the past not building my own system.
Don't build. Well, you can't build your own laptop at all.
No, I know.
If you're building a gaming desktop,
If something goes wrong, Leo.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah.
Falcon, Northwest, there's a lot of gaming desktop companies. Frankly, you'll get more bang for your buck. Plus, overheating is a problem on laptops, especially on these high-end games. So it's harder to make a laptop play these games well. Serious gamers, PC gamers, flight sim players, they're all playing on desktops, not laptops.
Yeah. I'm on the same subject line, and I know the answer. I can guess at the answer. But is it possible? Is this game also available? Like I say, I'm not a gamer. I wouldn't know how to use the controller for anything but a paperweight. But is there a way to put Flight Simulator on an Xbox with a keyboard, mouse, and joystick?
Do they offer it for the? They only can do it if they offer it for the Xbox. And I can't remember if they're. I think they are offering it on the Xbox. That actually might be the simplest way to do it, is to, because the Xbox will have enough horsepower to run it.
Right.
It's coming to the Xbox this summer. So, you know what? Honestly, that might be the most economical way to do it, is to get an Xbox, one of the new Xbox Series X Xboxes. If you, again, very hard to get, in very short supply. This chip shortage, we're just starting to feel the pain now, and it's going to be worse than I think we even imagined. Unfortunately, really starting to hit now. But if you can get an Xbox and a nice maybe you already have a 4K TV, that's going to be your best experience, and you're going to save money by doing it that way. So yeah, when the Flight Simulator comes out for the Xbox, which I'm looking here, it says summer 2021. So that's soon, ish. Sometime in the next 3 months, that'll probably be the way to go. Certainly the least expensive way. Coming soon to a 4K television near you. Then you're going to want to get 4K HDR TV, surround sound speakers. These things can, trust me, I know, can turn to a very expensive money pit. But you know what? You're worth it. You're worth it. Enjoy. Wow. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I remember. 8888-esque Leo, the phone number. Now we get to Kyle in Carson, California. Sorry, Kyle. Leo Laporte here. Thanks for hanging on.
Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
Yesterday I received delivery of a new Samsung 512.
How exciting.
And there's nothing there to tell me how to, I can't even turn it on. I don't know how to do it. It's just there. I put it back in the box and waited to call you.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you help me?
Yes, I can. What is it? A Samsung 512 what?
Tablet. I'm sorry.
Tablet. Oh, good. Okay. So, is it a Note S? What model tablet do you know off the top of your head? 512 is just how much storage, I think.
Galaxy 7.
Galaxy. There we go. There's the word I wanted. So it's a Galaxy 7. I'm looking to pull up the picture of it. There should be a button on it. First thing, you got to make sure it's charged. They shipped a charger with it and a cable, right?
Yes, there were some extra things there. I didn't know what they were for. But
is this your first tablet? This is very exciting, Kyle.
Well, I have my secondary question on that. Are there any books out there I can buy? Because I'm a book person. If I could buy a book that would give me lots of information, like I'd like.
You're not going. I don't think you're going to need a book, but I think once you turn it on, it should be fairly apparent. I actually don't know if there's a book specific to that model. Here's the thing. I mean, it's pretty simple. In that box, there'll be a thing that plugs into the wall, and there'll be a cable that plugs into that thing that plugs into the wall.
Yes, that's
and the other end of that cable plugs into the Galaxy, and you'll want to do that, and you'll want to let it charge up. And you'll want to let it charge up for a few hours, because these things come somewhat charged, but usually only about half. So you'll want to charge that all the way up. Then, as you look around on the edge of that tablet, there'll be a button. There probably are at least 3 buttons. There'll be a rocker button, that's the volume control for up and down, but there'll be a single button, and while it's charging, you can do this. Press that button and hold it for a second or two until you see the Samsung logo. Once you see
the bezel for?
Pardon me?
What's the pencil or the pen for?
That's for drawing on the screen. Was this a gift?
No, I bought it and paid for it, $1,000.
Well, they don't come with manuals, alas, in the box, but there is an online manual for this. So I would you can. Do you have another computer, or is this your only computer?
Oh, I got a regular laptop.
Okay, so on the laptop you could search for the model of tablet that is. And there'll be a manual online. Unfortunately, these days they give you a little brochure that probably doesn't even have any text. It just has pictures of how to plug it in, charge it, and turn it on. You should find that. And
Do you know the URL I would go to?
Samsung.com. And then, so is it the Tab S7? Is that the one you got, or?
Yeah, Tab is short for tablet, right?
Yep. But they call them a Tab.
Yes.
Galaxy Tabs, and it's the S7. You got 512 gigs, so I'm thinking you probably got the S7 Plus.
I got the Plus on there.
Okay. So you could actually just Google Samsung Galaxy S7 Plus manual. Actually, don't say S7 Plus because that's a phone. You're going to say Tab S7 Plus. Samsung is really confused. It's the Galaxy S7 is a phone. The Galaxy Tab S7 is a tablet. You're going to Google Galaxy Tab S7 Plus manual, and that'll take you right to the place at Samsung.com where there's a manual. That's a little closer to a book. It'll give you a little more information. It's not huge. I'm looking at it right now. It's not very big, but it'll at least
software for that unit.
Nope, it's all on there. You're actually in good shape. Ooh. You turn it on, it'll boot up, and then you can go. The next thing you're going to do is go to the store. There's an online store. There's both a Google Play Store. It's on the tablet, and the Samsung store. And both places have apps you can add. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, I'm looking at the manual. Oh, it's really frustrating. There's nothing there. Okay. Let's see. I clicked manual, and it looks like it's just here it is. User manual. There we go. That's 7 megabytes. That's a little bit better. User manual. So it's at Samsung.com. I mean, if I gave you the whole, it's, /US/business/support/owners/product/Galaxy-tab. Don't even write this down. Just Google it. It's so much easier. But once you get there, you'll get a manual that will show it. It has a section, set up your device, charge the battery, shows you how to do that. Oh. It comes with a bunch of apps on it. The pen comes with it because you can use a pen for input. Doesn't come with a keyboard. It comes, use your finger or use a pen. Sometimes people use the pen for drawing or writing in a notebook. There's a lot of nice apps on there. It comes with Microsoft Office. So,
it does.
Oh, yeah, it comes with a lot of nice apps. Samsung has a deal with Microsoft Office. What kinds of things did you want to do?
Well, I'm in the insurance business, so primarily I'm going to do my insurance.
Okay. So you'll be doing that probably in a web browser. There are probably also proprietary calculators that you might want to use that you can download. Those will be available in the store. So there's 2 app stores on there. There's as I mentioned, the Google Play Store and the Samsung App Store. That's where you get additional capabilities to add to it. Oh. It's the only place you can. It's not like a computer where you can stick in a disk. You'll have to do everything online. It does have a full browser. Samsung's browser is actually pretty good, but you can put Chrome on there as well. You can put other browsers on there too. It'll have a camera button, so you can take pictures because the thing has a camera. It'll have a camera gallery. It has an app called Media that you'll use to play music back if you want to listen to music.
No, I'm not a music person.
The best thing to do is to start playing with it, and you'll see all the things that you can do. And mostly what you're going to be doing is probably email and using your browser, because a lot of the software that you use, I bet you, is online. And it should do everything like that. It'll have an on-screen keyboard that'll pop up when it's time to start entering text.
I see.
I think you're going to like it. It's a very nice tablet. You got one of the nicer tablets out there.
Okay.
Have fun.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling. It's actually not a bad tablet at all. Yeah. It is probably the best Android tablet out there. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo. There's a science fiction author I'm a big fan of. His name is Andy Weir. You might have heard of his first book was called The Martian. Remember that? Made a movie out of it. Matt Damon nominated for an Oscar. Great movie, even better book. Big fan of Andy Weir. He's got a new book out. I just love, if you like sci-fi, and if you like sci-fi with a lot of science in it and problem solving, you will love it. It's called Project Hail Mary. Just came out from Random House. It's available on Amazon. You can get it in bookstores. And, of course, there's an Audible audiobook version. But I interviewed him yesterday. I had a great time with Andy. And one of the things I asked him, and I probably should know better than to ask authors this, but I asked him, how he wrote his book. This is what he answered.
Well, I got this big pile of buttons here, right?
Yes.
And if you hit these buttons, letters show up. And then if you do them in the right sequence, you get a book.
Wait, show me the keyboard again.
Here it is. Yeah, I know. This is my super professional, like $29 Logitech wired keyboard.
Is the whole thing written on that?
Yeah.
And,
I know. So I'm not a gamer. Video gamers are the guys who have the just absolutely magnificent
Cherry
stuff.
MX switches and all that.
I just want a keyboard that's heavy enough that it won't bounce around when I'm typing on it. Although I do have a special mouse, this weird looking thing.
Oh.
You hold it like this. Yeah. So here's the mouse.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
And I think it's called a handshake mouse, whatever.
Yeah.
It's good for RSI, which I have.
It's the Arc mouse. See, there you go. That's a humble guy. I asked him how he wrote the book, and he showed me his keyboard. The whole interview with Andy Weir, which was a lot of fun, I spent a little more than an hour with him, is available on my podcast site, TWiT, TWiT.tv, twit.tv. Should be right on the front page there. If not, you can go to twit.tv/events, because it was a special event to get to talk to Andy Weir. The movie option has already been sold. Actually, the whole movie's been sold, and Ryan Gosling is going to play the lead. It's such a good book. I just wanted to give it a plug because Andy's such a nice guy, too. 8888, ask Leo. A lot more of that interview, again, at twit.tv. Kevin's on the line from Whittier, California. Hello, Kevin.
Good afternoon, Leo.
Good afternoon to you. What's up?
Well, long story short, a couple of weeks ago, I got a nice little package from my internet service provider, new equipment. Got that set up. Took me about 3 or 4 days, and which normally doesn't. I've got an HP 4155 printer, and you try and download drivers. They just refer you to this little application called Smart Start.
They set up the whole thing for...
I'm getting offline and everything else.
Took them 4 days, and they never got the printer working, huh?
Yeah, it never went online. I get it offline. I followed all the instructions. I've tried online. I've tried...
So wait a minute. I'll help you with it here. So the printer has Wi-Fi, I'm sure, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, most printers nowadays. Used to be you'd connect it to the computer. Remember you had to have a printer cable and all that?
I worked for one of the companies.
Yeah. Oh, you did? So you know all this.
Yes.
So this has Wi-Fi in it. And all of the new printers now have a little screen, a little LCD screen that you can use to set up the Wi-Fi. When you got your internet set up, I presume you got Wi-Fi.
Yes, I did. I have to have it.
And you're able to log into your Wi-Fi on your laptop and desktop, I would assume, yeah?
Yeah, yes. I was able to get it set up, so everything works.
So you need two things to get on a Wi-Fi access point. You need what we call the SSID, just the name of it, you know. So I don't know what you named it, but you don't need to say it, but you know what that is. And then in most cases, you turn on password protection because you don't want somebody just driving by using your Wi-Fi. So you'll need a password. You've used that name and password to log in on your other devices, and it works fine, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's just a matter of getting that to work on your printer, and you'll do that, unfortunately. It's a little painful, but you have to do that on the front of the printer. It has a little LCD screen, and you'll go into settings on the printer, and you'll need to look for Wi-Fi. I usually let the printer scan to make sure it can find the Wi-Fi. Did you get a Wi-Fi router, or did they provide one for you?
They gave me both a router
okay.
and a modem. So it's a separate device.
So they provided it. And I'm going to presume that it is dual band, 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz.
I believe it is. I don't have the books in front of me.
So sometimes it's the case that dumber devices like a printer, not a computer, in other words, will only work with 2.4 gigahertz. But there are very few places where you can't. I can't imagine them providing a router that didn't do at least 2.4, if not 2.4 and 5.
I think it is a 2.4 if I remember right.
Yeah. So one of the issues could be that you didn't have 2.4 on that router, but I'd find that very unlikely. The thing to do is go into the printer, go to settings. Somewhere in there, there'll be Wi-Fi configuration, and you'll let it scan. Because the first thing you want to make sure is that it can see the router. It'll show all the Wi-Fi names that are available to it, and one of those, we hope, is the one that you're using.
Well, this one is kind of very limited. The screen doesn't give me a lot of readouts. It says it's got a little flashing light. You hold it down. It supposedly scans it, and it's supposed to shut off. It's supposed to, once it finds the network, connect to it.
Yeah, you'll have to enter the password, absolutely. If you've got a password on it, it won't work without the password.
Yeah, and it shows everything, and it even gives me the keys and everything else.
And it shows you the name that you're expecting. It shows you the name of your Wi-Fi router, and you entered in the password correctly, and it says, good, I'm connected, and it still won't work.
Correct.
Okay. On your computer, when you open, what kind of computer, Windows or Mac?
I have a Windows 10. It's a laptop,
okay.
A Dell type.
So you go into the control panel, and you're going to look in the devices section of the control panel, and you're going to look at printers, and you're going to want to, there's a button that says, it's got a big plus sign, add printers. You're going to want to see if your computer can see the printer. It should show up. It should say HP.
Driver is unavailable.
It says driver is unavailable.
Driver is unavailable. Yeah, I've gotten it to do some limited printing, but it's also a scanner and fax. Occasionally I use the scanner, but I got to print a little bit. But it says there's no driver available, so I'm assuming it's running off of Windows.
Yeah, Windows typically will install its own driver. You're probably going to go to It's HP, you said, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've gone to their website, and it just puts me in a loop. Download the Doctor program. Do this, do this, do this. Can't find the printer. Do this, this, and this. Can't find the printer. Do this, this, and this.
Okay. So HP.com has a driver's site. You're going to want to make sure you get the exact model of the printer. You want to match that. And you also want to match the exact version of Windows. There will be in the drivers and support page, there will be a download for a Windows 10. And they may not call it a driver because nowadays, especially with multifunction printers, they'll typically say, well, it's, the HP Super Duper Wizard program or whatever. But you're going to download that and run the installer. And, once that's on there, then Windows should see that printer.
Well, when I try doing a typical driver search, it keeps referring me back to a little program that they have that's available through the Microsoft Windows Store called HP Smart Start. And it won't take me to any driver's pages. I know what you're talking about.
Isn't that great? Isn't that nice? HP Smart Start's not that smart, is it?
Nah.
Thanks for trying to make things easier, HP, and instead just breaking the whole process. This whole idea is this little stub of a thing that you download from Microsoft Store works for every printer HP makes and should just be able to find the printer. Of course, if it doesn't, then you're in this position you're in, which is now what do I do?
Yeah,
I would see,
printer, but it just says offline, and every tip out there offline running their Doctor program and everything else just getting no place back.
Oh, there's a doctor to try to fix the connection, and
it doesn't work.
Yeah. I would see if you can go direct to... So this is supposed to be a convenience, but you should still be able to go direct on the HP page to that exact printer model, and there'll be a drivers and support page, and you should still be able to download directly the precise driver you need for that printer. That's what you need to do at this point. Stop. The Smart Start should be called the Stupid Start because it hasn't helped you at all, and obviously it's not working. The idea was it would figure out what you needed and download it. It didn't. Thanks, HP. Just get the printer driver yourself from the website. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The problem is this stupid Smart Start. Leo Laporte, the discotheque guy. Actually, this guy's the discotheque guy. Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer and our gizmo wizard. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
How do you make that sound? Can you make that sound? Whoop, whoop. That whoop, whoop sound? I can never make that sound.
No, I don't know how to do that.
I thought you might. Just watched a wonderful, sad, but also excellently done bio series on Netflix about Halston. And, of course, Studio 54, the great disco features in it. He was a regular there, along with Liza Minnelli and others. He's the guy who did the pillbox hat for Jackie Kennedy. Great show. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent. Yeah, Studio 54 was an amazing place.
I bet it was. Did you hang out there, or were you on the rope line?
No. You know what? It was very funny because the first time someone at Goodson Tubman, Roger Peterson, said, "Oh, you want to go to Studio 54?" I said, "Roger, I'm going to stand in any line." And he goes, "Dick, we're in show business. We don't do lines."
Do you know who I am? I'm right for the match game.
Right.
Nice.
So, yeah. And from then on, if I would show up, they would just remember me that I was not to stand behind the rope, and they would just let me in. So it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did you ever see Halston while you were there?
No, the only one I saw was Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people.
A lot of stars used to go there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Great.
And then, of course, Steve Rebell got busted for tax evasion and went to jail. But, it's a storied time in New York City. Meanwhile, Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, also joins us not merely to talk about disco, but also to talk about gadgets. What do you got for us this week?
Well, Leo, it's so funny that I don't know why this came to me. Last week I was thinking, what would be a good gadget? I need more gadgets. And then I suddenly
Wait a minute. You didn't utter the words, "I need more gadgets," did you?
Well, I need more gadgets for shows.
Oh.
I mean, I do not need more.
In your life,
gadgets.
You don't need more gadgets.
No. I need a lot less gadgets in my life. And I got to thinking, well, now that people are thinking the pandemic is over and people are leaving their home, and there'll be less call for webcams. Remember you and I?
Oh, God, you couldn't get them for a while. They were sold out.
And the cheapest Logitech was $110. Yeah. So I went on Amazon, and the cheapest webcam was $10.
Yeah. Probably just as good as the $110 one.
Well, Leo, I am talking to you on a $17 webcam. I didn't want to spend $10.
And you know what? I was going to say, you upgraded your picture because it looks fantastic. $17, huh?
I don't want to spend $10. I mean, I'm a celebrity. I'm going for the $17.
I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here.
This is great. Yeah. So this is a no-name camera, I'm thinking.
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, when I bought it was called a Fixie, and now a Fixie. That lasted about 4 weeks. But one very similar to it is called Depths Tech, and so that's what that looks like. And then I also bought one for $27. And I mean, it's just amazing how they're all very wide.
Have you switched to a different camera?
Yes, I have. I went
this
to the
one is very
27.
much brighter.
Yeah.
Like I can see stuff that was in the dark in the other one.
No, absolutely. Well, you spend that extra $10. You would know that. You would know that kind of thing.
It's really now. This is a little wide angle, so it's a little
yes, and you have no choice. Okay, so the other one I believe was 90 degrees, and this is 110. But again, it'll be light years ahead of what's built into your laptop.
Oh yeah,
and they're truly plug and play. You just plug it in and wait about 30 seconds, and it just.
So which one are you on now? You have two on your website.
I'm on. Okay, I am on the one that is called the
Passivant. The Passivant. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So this is the wide angle one.
Yes, and that one came with a privacy shutter and a tripod.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you also, the other one that is, go back to the other camera because okay. That looks like that's actually a better looking shot.
And
this is the cheap one.
Yes. And now going back to the $17 one.
The Depths Tech.
Yeah.
Is that the name?
2 famous names.
Webcam with microphone, DepsTech 2K QHD web camera, video streaming webcam, plug-and-play USB webcam from conferencing, calling, gaming, laptop, desktop, Mac, Skype, YouTube, Zoom, and FaceTime. And there's a 10% coupon, so $18.99.
That's how it comes down to $17.
Wow.
It comes down to $17.10.
Wow, look at that. 2K is HD. It's 1080p.
Yeah, well, they're saying 2560 by 1440.
Oh, that does sound like that's like 2.5K or something.
Okay, yeah.
Quad HD. Nice.
Yeah, but if you're looking for a cheapie, and it's 30 frames a second, if that matters.
It's so funny because Microsoft, Apple, everybody's coming out with technology for quarantine now that it's almost over. It took them a year to get it all ramped up, and now it's almost over.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could spend the rest of your life Zooming, but no one wants to anymore.
No, absolutely. And that's why I think people who had these cameras said, let's clear the warehouse because soon no one's going to want to
sell these. This is a good looking, this is a good looking shot. The other one was brighter, but it was also pretty wide.
Yes, very wide.
Yeah,
this is a little more compact, and colors are very bright, a little darker.
I'm waiting for the new iPad, which I should get pretty soon. And it has a new feature where it follows you around. The camera doesn't move, but because the picture is so high resolution, it as you move around, you kind of can crop it down to be wherever you are. So it follows you. It's a weird looking thing.
Wow. Now that's going to be more than $17, right?
Yeah. A little bit.
Like 1,017?
Like maybe a little more than that even.
Okay.
They start at $1,100. I think the one I got is about almost twice that.
Wow.
Because, well, it's my job to try the latest and greatest.
Yeah, and you got the model that follows you and says nice things.
And says nice things, which is a little bit more expensive. Yes.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
I think so. I'll say something nice about you. Dick DeBartolo is at gizwiz.biz. You can check out the links to both cameras there and with video and so forth, so you can see which one you like. But God, boy, the prices really have tumbled, haven't they?
Yes.
While you're there, play that famous What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine, autographed by this guy right here. All you have to do is identify a close-up picture of a gizmo or a gadget. It actually looks like the thing that Steve Rubell used to count people with as they went into the Studio 54.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those.
I can't give you a hint, but I know those gadgets.
Yeah. Gizwiz.biz, this contest goes through the end of June, so you got a little bit of time to figure out what that is. 18 autographed copies of magazine, up to 6 for the best correct answer, up to 12 for the cute, silly answers. Judges have very small attention spans, so make sure your entries are short.
Perfect.
And by the way, while you're there, don't forget there's other gadgets. There's Dick's blog and log. There's his GizWiz garbage. It's GizWiz hats and things that light up, mad collectibles, match game memorabilia, and more. GIZWIZ.biz, gizwiz.tv for his fabulous podcast. Thank you, Dickie D.
Thank you, buddy. You're great.
Yeah, well, you're even greater. So there. It is kind of amazing, isn't it? Microsoft came out with a camera. Microsoft's camera is a lot more expensive. They came out with... who else? Other companies have come out with other stuff like that. It's crazy. Crazy. We do the Giz Wiz every Saturday. We do, of course, Scott Wilkinson's home theater escapades. We do Travel with Johnny Jett on Sundays. We talk with Rod Pyle, our space guy, and Chris Marquardt, our photo guy. And, of course, every Sunday we talk about cars with Sam Abdul Samid. I think tomorrow he'll be talking about the brand new F-150 Lightning, the all-electric truck from Ford, which he is, of course, driven. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.